What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte. And today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of a new construction home versus a resale home. Now, last year, just over 30% of the real estate transactions that were taking place were new construction, and according to Redfin, they expect the same, if not more, this upcoming year. So we're going to go over a ton of points that you might not even have considered before, and I'm making this video for you in order to kind of pick and or lean maybe towards a side when you're starting your home search. So with that being said, if you get some value out of this video, do me a favor, hit that like button and feel free to share the video with anybody that you might think needs this information in order to help them with their home search. And as always, if there's anything I can ever do for you personally, any questions you might have for me, you can always call, text, or email me. All my contact information is right here and also linked down below. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the pros and cons of new construction versus resale. Now, pro number one, and now I know this might seem a little bit obvious, but everything is new, which means there's a lot less of a chance for unexpected maintenance items and unexpected bills. So, roof, HVAC, flooring, plumbing, electrical, windows, appliances, everything is new, and as long as you do the yearly maintenance and or every 2 years on your major systems, you should be worry-free for about the next 10 to 15 years, if not more. Again, things do happen, but you have a lot of warranties in place. In the beginning, with new construction, you have warranties from the builder, you have structural warranties, and then you have extended warranties on appliances. But because it's a new construction home, everything is built to the newest code standards, and you have a lot less of a chance of things going wrong in a new construction home versus a resale home. Now moving on to pro number two, and this is going to be a big one, and it is the floor layout of homes in new construction. So as building progresses, as we as people progress, as trends start to change, builders keep up with all of that demand, and they have all the information to give people the types of homes that they want. So new construction homes right now, they tend to have the open concept that everybody wants. They have the loft spaces, they have the additional office spaces, they have the large pantries, they have the huge master bedrooms, the beautiful bathrooms, dual vanities, shower and tub combo, and not to mention these ginormous closets that a lot of homes that are older lack to have. So this is literally one of the biggest reasons people like new construction. It's because of the layout. The layouts in the new construction homes are a lot better than they were pre-2005 even. Pre-2005, that's not even an older home. But as everything has been progressing, as people's needs have been changing, the builders are keeping up with that. And floor layout, floor plans of homes is one of the biggest reasons that people choose new construction over a resale home. Now moving on to pro number three, which is going to be amenities. Now the amenities are going to vary by community, and typically the smaller a community is, the less amenities it's going to have. So if you're looking at a community that's roughly about 100 homes or less, you might not have the resort style amenities that some of the master plan communities have. But some of the amenities that are available at these bigger communities, you have pools, you have the clubhouses, which usually have a gym. Sometimes you can even rent it out for private parties. You have walk-in trails, tennis courts, basketball courts. I've seen some with like little mini disc golf courses, putt-putt greens. If you're somewhere on a lake, sometimes they'll have boat docking and boat ramps. But that's just to kind of name a few of the amenities that are provided. Now, granted, because those amenities are provided, your HOA fees are going to tend to be a little bit more because of all the services that they offer. But this is a question that you'll have to ask yourself if you're actually going to utilize those amenities and if those HOA fees are actually worth it for you. If not, it might be better to take into consideration maybe a smaller community so you can save a little bit of money on those HOA fees and or a resale home. Now let's get into the cons of new construction. So con number one, and something I always get feedback from, is going to be lot sizes. If you've looked at any new construction home that's obviously not a custom home, not in a multi-million dollar neighborhood, you're going to notice that the lot sizes are going to be a lot smaller. On average, what I see here in the Charlotte area, lot sizes are going from 0.15 to 0.25, which is just under a quarter acre of a lot size. Now, there are so many factors that play into this. Is this a two-story home? Is this a ranch-style home? Where on the lot is it located? Is it a corner lot? Is the back of the house directly backing up to somebody else's backyard, or do you have greenery back there? So it's very much going to depend on the actual lot itself, but on average, what you're gonna see is 0.15 to a quarter acre of a lot for new construction houses. If you're in that ballpark of houses right around 900,000 plus, a million plus, there is a decent chance that you're going to have a bigger lot size, but even then it's still going to come down to location. Normally, if you're within the city limits, if you're in a highly condensed area, you are still going to have that smaller lot size, maybe quarter acre to a third of an acre. But if you wanted to go outside of the city, maybe be in the suburbs, that's when you're going to get maybe that half acre plus as far as lot size goes. And with lot size, privacy is another con that is with new construction. So many people tell me they don't want to look, outside the side of their window and be able to touch their neighbor's house or see directly in their living room. And again, new construction, the builders trying to build as many houses they can within that lot size. And unfortunately, for you, for me, for us, the people that are looking to buy that home, you might be really close to your neighbor. Con number two, HOA fees, rules, and regulations. We all want to be rebels. Hey, I bought my house. I own this house. I own this land. I want to do whatever I want with it. Unfortunately, 95+% of new construction that you look at will have HOA rules and regulations. You'll have covenants, code, and restrictions based off what you want to do. Usually it's about 100 pages or so of a bunch of bylaws when they can really simplify it, but they put in all their stipulations. And this is a big downside for people. Like I said, you just bought a house, you own the house, you want to do what you want to do with the house, but that is a big con with new construction. They tend to have those HOA rules. Now, it's not, if you don't cut your grass in 2 weeks, nobody's going to go to the front lawn with a ruler and say, hey, we're writing you up, you need to cut your grass. But the HOA is there to maintain your property value, and in doing so, maintaining the entire community's property value. So they're not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're somebody that wants to maybe park an RV, if you want to park your boat or something like that, or if you want to, paint your house black, pink, purple, whatever the case is, HOA will most likely not let you do that. HOAs are really good as far as allowing people to do certain things. And I always tell people, when you're driving through a community, see what everybody in the community is doing. Take a look at the fences. Take a look at any pools, any new additions that are done. But for the most part, you are going to have those rules and regulations. And if you're someone that's a rebel, new construction might not be the thing for you. Con number three, this one I hear often as well, and we all know the saying, cookie cutter. Depending on your preferences, depending on what you like, depending on the type of style home that you're looking for, some people do not like cookie cutter homes. And unfortunately, depending on the community that you're in, normally like a mid-sized new construction community, they'll have 3 to 5 floor plans, 3 to 5 different exterior elevations, as they call them. So you'll have 5 different types of styles of homes, for example, and they'll be spread out. They do a good job of spreading them out, not putting 2 of the same homes next to each other, to have that little bit of balance so things don't look exactly the same. But unfortunately, unless you're buying in that upper echelon, in those higher price points of new construction houses, a majority of the time they will have that cookie cutter feel. And Me personally, if I'm being honest with you, I love resale homes. I love the traditional brick style. I love mid-century modern and things like that. But I've been to so many new construction communities where I've easily said, I'll live in this community in a heartbeat, even though it was cookie cutter because of some of the pros that we talked about a little bit earlier. So again, it all depends on your preference, and it's depending on also where you're moving to from. Are you used to seeing similar styles of homes in those big communities? Or are you moving to Charlotte from an area that every single house is unique and has its own feeling, has its own vibe? Now let's talk about the 3 pros of a resale home. So you can really, a resale home is a home that has been lived in before. But for the sake of kind of this video, think about homes built maybe in the early 2000s and under. That's just kind of what I'd recommend as a parameter, but a resale home. So resale homes, pro number 1 is they tend to be in a little bit more established areas. So for example, South Charlotte, where I currently live, it's a very established area. We do not have a lot of new construction here because the neighborhood's been established. There's no more room, there's no more land for new construction to build. So in South Charlotte, you'll see a lot of newer townhomes where they bought some of these older homes that are sitting on 1, 2, 3 acres of land. They built a bunch of townhomes and things like that. But for the most part, as far as single family goes, you're not going to find like a massive, big 100+ home community in the South Charlotte area unless you go on the outskirts. Now, on the opposite side of that, if you look at North Charlotte, if you look at Huntersville, for example, you will find a lot of newer construction houses, but those areas aren't quite established yet. There's still plazas being built around. There's still a ton of shopping being built around, becoming new to those areas. But because the resale homes were built 10, 20, 30 years ago, there's a lot more people in those areas. It's more densely populated. And with that dense population, you have a lot more shopping, dining, walkability, drivability in those areas. Pro number 2 for a resale home: bigger lot sizes, more privacy. And again, this is going to vary and is going to be different on a case-by-case basis. But in general, if you take a look at some of the resale homes, the older homes that are not new construction, they tend to be on bigger lots. That's what a lot of people wanted. They wanted to have bigger backyards. They wanted to have more privacy. So a lot of the resale homes you see that are built pre-2005, for example, they tend to have a 1/4 acre plus lot size, as opposed to the new construction we talked about where it almost taps out at a 1/4 acre. So lot sizes are going to be a little bit bigger on the resale homes. You're going to have a little bit more privacy. And because those homes were built 15, 20, 30 years ago, the trees that were planted at that time, they've all grown. Now you have 10, 20-foot trees that are fully mature, giving you that much more privacy. When you're driving through a new construction community, you'll see the little trees that they have planted. That will become an established community once those trees fill in. You'll have more privacy. The only downside is it takes 10, 15, 20 years for those trees to kind of grow in. But on average, for resale homes built prior to 2005, you're going to tend to have a bigger lot size than new construction. Pro 3 of a resale home is going to be no HOA and or less restrictive HOA. So in a lot of the resale homes, you will have HOA communities. However, some of them even have voluntary HOAs. So with that, you don't have a lot of the restrictions that you have with newer construction houses. They don't do as much, obviously, because you don't have those constrictions. And you also don't have those amenities. If you take a look at some of those houses, some of them have pools, tennis courts, and things like that, but a good amount of them don't. But they still do have a little bit of covenants, codes, restrictions, and bylaws that you need to abide by, such as, not running a business out of the house, not being able to open up like a daycare or something like that, and or short-term rentals. We've seen a lot of things happen in the short-term rental space, and a lot of these HOAs are not allowing that in certain communities to keep up with the property values. But along that same line, if you go to those resale houses, you'll see a lot more additions. You'll see additional garages that are being built. You'll see carports. You'll see pools. You might see an in-ground pool, an above-ground pool. You'll see different styles of fencing, which is a big one. New construction, sometimes they'll tell you, hey, you have to have this specific fence, as opposed to some resale communities. You might have the black aluminum fencing. You might have the 6-foot tall wooden privacy fence. You might have custom fencing. So you will have less restrictive HOAs for the most part in resale communities versus new construction. But again, it varies on a case-by-case basis and depending on which community you're actually in. Now let's get into the cons of resale. And this again is one of the biggest one. Outdated floor plans. If you look at some older houses, they can feel completely closed off. As soon as you walk in, you might have a staircase here, a narrow hallway, a small little closet to put your coat and things in. Then you have 2 living rooms that one of them you don't even use. It's actually like a sitting room or a library. Then you have the kitchen that's a little bit closed off. It's only open to the dining room. And it's just a wonky layout. So depending on the age of the house, that is one of the biggest cons of resale. And another thing that I want to touch on is going to be ceiling height. Ceiling height is something that I always point out to my buyers because it's very important. And in some of the older homes, depending on the age, I'm 6'2". Sometimes I'll walk in and the ceiling is just, it's right there and I feel cramped. I feel claustrophobic. So one of the biggest cons for a resale is going to be the layout, ceiling height. It's one of those things. If you're going to be renovating, if you're going to be tearing something down to the studs, you can always change the layout. But some of the houses that I've seen, the layout is just completely discombobulated and it would cost a lot of money to fix that. Con number 2 is going to be no 2 homes are the same. And you might take that the wrong way, but what I mean in that no 2 homes are the same, if you're looking at houses built in the 1990s, you might go to one house, they just replaced the roof. You might go to another house, they replaced it 10 years ago. You might go to another one, they haven't replaced it in 30 years. That goes for the windows, that goes for the HVAC, that goes for the water heater, flooring, paint, anything you can think of. So when the market was absolutely crazy, it almost seemed like people didn't care about that stuff. It's one of the things that I like to point out anytime I'm working with somebody because it's very important. No 2 homes are created equal. You can have the same exact home, same exact floor plan, but when the roof was replaced, when the HVAC was done, when the plumbing was done, when the kitchen was updated, when the bathrooms were renovated, all of that stuff matters and it goes into the value of the home. So one of the cons with resale is when a house pops up, you do not know until you take a look at the disclosures when certain things were replaced. So as opposed to new construction, you know, hey, this was built in 2021. You can expect all of the major systems, the roof, the HVAC, all to be 2021. But in a resale home, everything is done on different timelines, and that's if people updated their house as they lived there. Now, the third con of a resale home, we're back to HOA. Now, the reason that is a con for a resale home is because some of them do not have HOAs, because some of them don't have those rules and regulations in place, sometimes you can have people doing whatever they want. And when you're driving by a house and you see a house that has boarded up windows, they have 13 cars in the driveway, just a lot of mess going on, there's nothing that you can do because there's no HOA for those houses. Now, it's rough when you're looking at a house that is next to that house that is messed up, because obviously if you're trying to sell a home and the house next door has broken windows, they're boarded up, the gutters are falling off, there's 2 feet of leaves on the roof because it hasn't been cleaned in 5 years, all of that stuff will affect the value of your home if you're next door and the community. So it's very give and take as far as HOA goes versus resale and new construction. But in this case, if you can find a great community that's in resale and everybody takes care of their homes in that community, then you're going to be in great shape. But if you're in a community where things are up and down and it's not quite well established yet, then you really need to take into consideration what the other houses in the community look like. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, call, text, or email me if there's anything I can ever do for you. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.